In a small gathering, we're going into a mentoring session. First of all, I welcome all of you who are present here, and greetings from TiE Chandigarh. We have a very eminent guest. He's a city's business icon and doesn't need much of an introduction. And it won't be fair on my part to, sum up his and such an achiever's profile in such a short time today. So we would like to just mention that, importantly, Pratap is TiE Charter member, and most importantly, he is heading and also chairs the mentoring group of TiE Charter. So we are going into a mentoring session, and let's hear from the business crew what he has to say. Yeah, over to Pratap.
Thank you, Suvir. So that's the easiest way to know TiE a lot. Anyone of you are a charter member? Yeah? Is good?
Anish.
Oh yeah, of course, good. And so, TiE, you all know, is originated in the Silicon Valley. So, two decades back, the key thing on the TiE was to promote the entrepreneurship. And I think our country is at a point where we are in the stage, especially Chandigarh. I mean, we always talk about Chandigarh as a great place for entrepreneurship. For a startup. For a startup is a great place to be. And I think more and more we talk about that. That's what I think in the TiE. I was talking to Sumit. I think we should revisit our objectives for TiE Chandigarh and look at that in the context of the things which are happening in Chandigarh. And one of the definite objectives is to promote entrepreneurship in the area. How do you do that? One is, of course, talk to some people who have already done that before. Somebody who has started a company, who struggled, who failed, a submission of the failures into a success. So that is one part of that. Second is to create an ecosystem which brings money, which brings risk-taking abilities, which brings that kind of aspect. So that will also will play a role as a part of the TiE. And third is the people who have already taken that initiative, give them some kind of a correction, give them some kind of a share your own success or share your own practices that you follow, whatever the word you call it, the mentoring or in that part. So these are the kind of perspective which we think that TiE should promote. So today's session is mainly linked towards the, as Sumit corrected me, more towards the mentoring side, where some of you have already initiated. You can ask questions from any direction to anywhere, rather than going through a boring one-sided story or not. I would say we'll make it more interactive. So let's ask as many questions. But if you don't know the questions and we don't talk, then it becomes a silent, and then becomes a little pregnant silence. I don't know that. So let's try to make it as so we can learn from each other. I also learn from you guys. You learn from each other, and we relate a little bit of the story, and then we ask questions. You want to tell what we are doing now and what is my current thought. I can do it any. You can correct either way.
I think we can have what is latest on with you, and then we can do a Q&A.
Is that okay?
Is
that okay?
How you started and
Okay, so then it's almost everything.
brief your journey.
Okay, very quickly. A very simple middle class family, which was just to give you a background. My father was in service all along. His family was purely the service family. My mother was definitely from the service family. They decided to move into Chandigarh because my mother's brother decided to move into Chandigarh as an early migrant to Chandigarh. So in the beginning, built things there. My mama, or my mother's brother, persuaded my father to leave his job in central government and start something called business, which he was very scared of. He keeps telling me that he could not believe that first 6 months he took leave, and of course got into that. Just to fast track on that part, we were raised in a family where it was very clearly said that we will become engineers, and then we'll go and work as a SDO. My mother always felt very sad when I became engineer. I went and told her I got a job. So she said, what is your designation? So I said, my designation is programmer. She said, this is not a very good designation at all. I mean, programmer was absolutely not a good designation in 1979 when I graduated from Punjab Engineering College. It was, and chief engineer, because her brothers were all in that, they went through that route to become chief engineers. That's another aspect. But there was always a conflict in the family that what they want me to become. The only thing which happened, because my father had taken a decision of joining that family group or the business group, so he had that little bit of flair of business, which was very safe. He was a dealer for automobile all along. And so he wanted me to come in there, but he gave me an open hand, if you want to work or you want to go enjoy medicine. He tried his level best to move me into, I could not deal with that aspect of the office in Chandigarh, which later on became RCC, which later on was declared as a regional community center. In 79, 500 rupees was lower, but I enjoyed that. I said, never bothered that. And then I got a chance to, we continued growing from 500 to 900 to 1100. In the second year, Mrs. Gandhi, Prime Minister, decided all such bodies should be taken under DOE. So they took it under DOE, and we were given a designation from a programmer to a scientific officer or something, and with a salary of 1100. We were all happy, but then we realized there were several restrictions. I was lucky to get a company came in from US looking for programmers to do the contract manpower like a body shop into US, and we were the first, we used that work which was taken away to US at that point. That changed our life in different way. At that time, I can only say, since my whole education was in DAV school, all my because that's the only thing my family could afford, and that's where my parents wanted me to get much more values of doing the Havan on Saturday, RS March fundamental. Somebody beats you up if you make a mistake. So we all were built up like that. But the only thing I can mention, the biggest handicap I faced in going to US was I could not speak a single line of English. And if there is a woman in the audience, forget it. Just I won't even speak a line. I won't speak a word. So that was my, as late as 83 I went in. I was very handicapped with that. I could not speak a single line of English. My vocabulary, even today, will be not more than 200 words if I really calculate them. My vocabulary was very limited. And you don't build vocabularies at a later age. So I got in there in the US. And the only thing I can tell you, another story time, my son told me to tell you today. But we was talking about it, and he said, when I landed up in the US, 1 month into a job, I went to my boss and said, can I take a vacation? So he says, are you out of your mind? Where are you going? I said, I'm going to Hawaii. The guy said, you really will be out of your mind because you haven't even earned your first salary and you want to go to Hawaii and that too in the US, and now you're trying to. I said, no, that was my next question. Can I bill? He just says, get out. I mean, he told me literally, he was really upset. But I don't know what happened. He went to his car. I remember his black car. He turned back. He said, I don't know why you asked this question, but it looks so silly to me. Anyway, we don't have to work for you anyway for the next few weeks. You can go and tell the lady called Donna, tell Donna to give you $350 for that. So he said, I don't know how you survive there, but go 1 week in Hawaii on my own and just walking around all over with the $350. I had no money when I came back at $5-7. I miscalculated on some things, and there's a story that the last day when I was coming, I had no food and no money in my pocket. I was sitting on the beach and I saw a newspaper which said, I don't know how many of you heard about a company called Dole Pineapple. People who travel to US, there's a very popular brand called Dole Pineapple. And the advertisement was 99 cents, all you can eat pineapple. Taking a bus, I mean, I cannot believe I took a bus with like 60 cents or something in that. Got down to the, I think never had any customer. I had my bag with me. I walked in and they said, I saw your ad, I like to eat all my pineapples. Like $1. So I paid them $1 and I had just this much of pineapple. That's the only thing I could afford that day. That I remember very well. Making faster, further. So then I became a programmer, which I never ever enjoyed. I was working, enjoying because I was able to travel all across. I love driving in the US. So those are the things which were keeping me on. But the real thing when my boss was saying, code it, try this, it used to be always very compelling for me. I never enjoyed it. I used to do up to a good point. I used to build a good logic. I used to build a good flow diagram. But when it used to come to the coding, I used to never in the heart of heart I knew I was not doing good. Which gives me 9 to 6 check and keeps giving me the repetitive work. That was very clear to me at that time. US said if you want to settle in the US, now you have a good job in the here. Or if you want to come back to India, 88, Punjab was still burning the terrorism, slightly coming out of that. I came back, I had missed cricket, so I watched a lot of cricket at that time sitting at home. My parents were worried as always, his career is finished, I is not going to do something, let him go back to US. And then I found I would say, connect into company Wipro. Made a big difference to my life because he inspired me to, like a mentoring of his own kind in those days. And he said the same thing. He says, look, you want to work with Wipro, do a job. We are not looking for a job. We can give you the hardware, you do your software, and you do something in Punjab. So I bought the borrowed these from Punjab Tractors and gave a machine from Punjab Tractors, from Wipro to them. And then, of course, started using a small Maruti car going all over Punjab looking at the order. I was lucky to get probably 37 very good initial contacts from the various companies across Punjab. All of them, I made small people say, give me a payroll solution, give me this particular product. But I started enjoying it. It's not about that. It was not about writing program. But I started connecting with the customer very quickly. And I found a very interesting thing at that time. I enjoy spending time with customer, understanding his needs, and then saying, look, I can. And I was not very good commercially. They will ask, whenever they would ask me, how much will you charge me? I used to be a little nervous, now what do I tell? It should not be a deal breaker. My cost to get me a little bit. And I think that helped a lot in the beginning to build that base. Then I met with the company NIIT. I thought NIIT will be a piece of cake. I built up a little bit of arrogance at that time. I was started secretary. At the end of the day, they came in the conference, they shook hands, sorry, we decided not to give you the franchise. I had a Fiat car at that time, because one little Maruti had a Fiat car from my father. I drove from Delhi, there was no Shatabdi, there was no other comfortable. I drove from Delhi to Chandigarh, but I had a tear in my eye first time. Somebody had rejected